If you've been feeling like no matter what you try in the bedroom, she seems distant, distracted, or just not fully there, I want you to know something important. The problem likely isn't what you think it is. And the truth is, it's something most men have never been taught. This isn't about technique, it's about something much deeper. Hi, I'm Miley, and welcome to Miley's Mind. For years, I've worked as a relationship therapist, helping couples move from silent frustration and disconnection to a place of deep intimacy and mutual satisfaction. And if there's one pattern I've seen over and over again, it's this. Most men approach intimacy like a problem to be solved. They focus on performance or mechanics. But for most women, orgasm isn't a mechanical puzzle, it's an emotional destination. And she simply cannot get there if she doesn't feel completely safe, seen, and profoundly connected to you outside the bedroom. The truth most men never hear is that her desire doesn't start at night. It starts in the morning. It lives in the way you listen, the way you make her feel valued, and in the complete absence of pressure. The biggest myth our culture sells us is that great sex is spontaneous. The reality is that great sex is intentional. It's built on a foundation of emotional deposits made daily. Today we're going to unpack the hidden psychological roadmap to her pleasure. We'll talk about the invisible barriers blocking her, the ones she herself might not even have words for, and how you can gently remove them. Stick with me until the very end, because the final section reveals a psychological shift that completely changes the dynamic between you. It's honestly mind-blowing, and it's the one key that makes everything else click into place. I promise you, this conversation will be worth your time. If you're ready to stop guessing and start genuinely connecting with the woman you love, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next step on this journey. Let's dive in. Emotional walls. You don't see them, but she feels them every single time you reach for her. I've sat with countless women who love their partners deeply, yet struggle to let go in those intimate moments. And what they all reveal, often with tears in their eyes, is that somewhere along the way a wall was built. It wasn't built out of resentment or rejection. It was built out of protection. A woman's deepest pleasure is guarded by a gate that only unlocks when she feels completely, utterly safe. And most men never realize that the very thing they think will bring her closer, pushing for intimacy, initiating physical touch, or even expressing desire, can actually trigger that wall to go up. Because her body remembers everything her mind may have forgotten. It remembers the time you were distracted. It remembers the time you didn't notice she was tired. It remembers every unspoken moment when she felt like a task instead of a treasure. And so she retreats, not out of coldness, but out of self-preservation. The wall isn't meant to keep you out. It's meant to keep her vulnerable heart safe until she knows beyond doubt that you see her, all of her, without judgment or agenda. True intimacy requires her to lower that wall voluntarily, and she will only do that when she feels your presence as a soft place to land, not a demand to perform. This is where the romance lives, not in grand gestures, but in the quiet way you make her feel chosen again and again. It's in the way you look at her across the dinner table. It's in the way you remember the little things she loves. It's in the way your touch whispers, "I cherish you," without expecting anything in return. When those walls dissolve, what emerges is a woman who doesn't just want you, she craves you. She surrenders fully, not because you demanded it, but because she trusts you with the most sacred part of herself. That is the foundation of a pleasure so deep it transforms everything. So if she's holding back, don't push harder. Come closer with patience. Let her feel safe enough to let the wall crumble, and you'll enter a world of intimacy you've never known before. The silent language of desire she's craving. You know that moment when you're lying next to her, the room is quiet, and you can feel the tension in her body, a subtle stiffness, a shallow breath, a gaze that flickers away from yours. Most men interpret this as rejection or disinterest. But what if I told you that her silence is actually screaming with desire, just in a language you've never been taught to understand? Women express arousal differently than men. While your desire might be loud, urgent, and physical, hers often whispers through the smallest gestures. The way she bites her lip when you walk past. The way her fingers linger on your arm a second longer than necessary. The way she arches her back slightly when you whisper something private in her ear. These are not coincidences. These are invitations written in invisible ink. The tragedy is that most men miss them entirely because they're waiting for a neon sign that says, "I want you now." But her desire is a slow, simmering fire that needs to be recognized and stoked before it can erupt. She craves to be seen in these quiet moments, to have you acknowledge her unspoken hunger without her having to verbalize it. When you learn to read these signals, something profound happens. She feels understood on a primal level. Her body relaxes because she realizes you speak her love language of longing. And when that happens, her guard drops, and her arousal becomes undeniable. It's in the way she presses closer to you in bed, the way her breathing quickens when you trail your fingers down her spine, the way she parts her lips slightly, waiting for your kiss. That is the silent language of desire. And once you learn it, you no longer have to guess whether she wants you. You'll feel it in the air between you, electric and undeniable. So here's the question that changes everything. Have you ever truly listened to what her body is begging you to say? How pressure kills passion before it starts. Think about the last time you wanted her so badly that every touch felt urgent, every kiss felt like a race to the finish. You probably thought that intensity would ignite her, that your raw hunger would sweep her away. But here's the painful truth most men never hear. That very pressure is often the thing that shuts her down completely. When a woman senses that your desire has an agenda, that your hands are moving with a destination in mind, her body responds not with arousal but with resistance. It's a primal protective mechanism. She feels the weight of your expectation, and suddenly the intimate moment becomes a performance she fears she will fail. You see, for a woman, the most powerful aphrodisiac is not intensity but presence. The feeling that you are with her, not just using her body as a vessel for your release. When she feels pressure, her mind races. Will he be disappointed? Am I taking too long? What if I can't get there? And that mental noise is the death of desire. Her orgasm is not a switch you can flip through sheer will or determination. It is a flower that blooms only in the absence of urgency. I have counseled men who were bewildered by their partner's withdrawal, insisting they were just trying to please her. But their very focus on pleasing became a demand. She felt that she had to orgasm to validate his ego, and that burden suffocated her pleasure. Great lovers understand that they must release all attachment to the outcome. They touch her not to make her come, but to explore her, to worship her, to lose themselves in the journey of her body. And paradoxically, when the pressure evaporates, she feels free to surrender. Her breath deepens, her hips begin to move instinctively, and the pleasure builds naturally without force. She needs you to be patient enough to let her want you, not just to satisfy you. So ask yourself this: are you making love to her, or are you making love to your own expectations? Because the moment you let go of needing her to perform, you give her the greatest gift, the permission to feel everything. And that is when the real fire begins, unlocking her mind to ignite unstoppable connection. Let me tell you what happens when a woman's mind is truly unlocked, when the mental gates swing open and she stops holding herself back. I have witnessed it in my practice countless times, and it is nothing short of transformative. Her mind is the most powerful erogenous zone she possesses, and most men never learn how to touch it. They focus on her body, on physical stimulation, on technique, but they forget that her arousal begins in her thoughts long before it reaches her skin. She needs to feel desired in a way that makes her feel worshipped, not just wanted. She needs to hear the words that make her imagine what you will do to her, to feel the tension build in her chest as you describe the way you crave her. When you learn to unlock her mind, you stop simply having sex and start creating an experience that consumes her entirely. It starts with your voice, the way you whisper what you love about her body, the way you tell her exactly what you want to do to her later, the way you make her feel like the most desired woman alive. Her imagination will do the rest. She will replay your words in her head all day, and by the time you touch her, she will already be aching for you, her body responding before you even make contact. That is the unstoppable connection. That is the fire that burns so hot it leaves her breathless, trembling, completely surrendered to the moment. I have seen women who thought they were incapable of deep pleasure transform into creatures of raw, unapologetic passion, simply because a man took the time to unlock their minds. He didn't rush. He teased her thoughts. He fed her fantasies. He made her feel so safe and so desired that she let go of every inhibition. And when she did, she didn't just reach orgasm. She shattered into 1,000 pieces, crying out with a release that shook them both. That is the power of unlocking her mind. It is the difference between her simply going through the motions and her losing herself completely in your arms. When you master this, you don't just connect with her body, you connect with her soul. And that connection ignites a passion so fierce, so unstoppable, that neither of you will ever be the same. So ask yourself, are you ready to learn the language of her mind? Or will you keep touching only her skin while her deepest pleasure remains locked away? I want to tell you something that will change the way you approach intimacy. The most powerful sex you'll ever share has less to do with technique and more to do with the courage to be present and the willingness to be seen. I'm Miley, and I've sat with couples who could have taught a masterclass in positions yet felt hollow afterward, because they hadn't learned how to remove the armor that keeps real desire from arriving. Men are taught to perform, to fix, to deliver results. Women in my practice repeatedly tell me that what collapses their desire is the pressure, the transactional rhythm, the sense that they are an objective rather than a person. So here's the raw truth. When you stop treating intimacy like a checklist and start treating it like a conversation that lives in bodies and breath, everything shifts. Presence means slowing down so your hands, your voice, your eyes are not tools of a task but instruments of attention. Presence means making small, consistent deposits of safety, checking in without expectation, apologizing when you're wrong, learning how to listen to an offhand sound or a withdrawn breath, and respond with curiosity instead of assumption. Vulnerability looks like admitting you don't always know what she needs, and asking her to teach you, and then remembering what she says. It looks like letting your guard down, naming your fear of failing, inviting her to be imperfect with you. That invitation is erotic because it gives her permission to be fully herself without performance. Desire is fed by narrative, by the way you tell her you want her during the day, not just at night. By the private image you create with your words that she can replay when you are apart. Cultivate anticipation deliberately. A text that remembers a laugh, a whisper that names a memory, a touch that lingers without agenda. Pressure kills the moment before it begins. Tenderness amplifies it until it becomes nearly unbearable. Teach your body to match your intention. Breathe with her. Slow down when she breathes slower. Let your heartbeat be an offering rather than a tempo to conquer. Become fluent in the language of her subtle signals, and when she opens, don't rush to crow about conquest. Receive her. Honor the vulnerability she's given you. Let the afterglow be a sacred quiet rather than a scoreboard. This work is not instantaneous. It asks for patience and stubborn devotion. But when you trade performance for presence, the intimacy that follows is electric and devastatingly beautiful. It rearranges the way you love and the way she trusts. And it makes pleasure feel less like an outcome and more like a shared sanctuary. Are you ready to stop doing and start being? As we close, remember this. Authentic pleasure grows where safety, curiosity, and honest presence meet. Learning to listen to her silence, to make steady emotional deposits, and to choose tenderness over performance, rewires desire and deepens connection. This is not quick-fix advice. It's patient, brave work that rewards you with intimacy that feels sacred and fiercely alive. If you're ready to become the partner who creates surrender instead of demanding it, start small, keep practicing, and celebrate the moments she chooses to open. If this resonated, subscribe to the channel for more therapist-guided insights. Leave your questions or stories below, and join our community committed to loving with more courage and tenderness. Let's build intimacy that lasts and burns bright.